Hey everyone, it's SG Holy Man, and welcome to the third installment of Holy Man Replays. This is a series where I'm going back and replaying a bunch of games. Some of them are my favorite games from this generation. Some of them are just games I wanted all the DLC to come out so I could go back and replay them at some point. And in this third installment, I'm looking at Infamous Second Son. So the first thing I kind of want to mention is that this is the main game that got me to get a PS4. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but like I always knew I was gonna get a PS4, but at the same time, like I usually don't buy my consoles like right at launch. I usually wait a little bit because there's almost always something wrong with a launch console. If you kind of know what I'm talking about, like something with the hardware, and they usually patch it out within the first few months, and then it's all good. Um, so this game came out, I believe it was like 4 or 5 months after the launch of the PS4, if I remember right. I don't have the release date with me, but it was like a month after this game came out is when I got my PS4. And this is like the first game I bought along with Transistor, I believe. And then my PlayStation Plus subscription started then, so I got a couple other games. I believe Octodad was one of them. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. This game is still great. I really enjoyed going back to play it. However, I will say back then I felt this way, and I even still feel this way now after replaying it. Not my favorite Infamous. I think it is the weakest of the three games. Well, I don't know how you want to count the side games, but of the main three, this is not my favorite. I still think Infamous 2 is probably the best one, but this game is still great. The story is not the strongest. The choices in this game really don't feel like they matter, um, because like it's kind of a problem with the series as a whole. Because you know you have your basically Paragain Renegon, so hero villain kind of deal. But in the first two games, um, like yeah, it's always been like just pick your route and go. Like there was never really a reason to be like, oh, like this situation has always compelled me to be one way or the other. Like it's always just choose your adventure basically. Um, but with how Cole was as a character and how they wrote him in the first two games, you could, you know, like you could go both ways and they both work just fine. In this game, um, Paragon Delson feels like the right one just because of how his character is, and I'll get into the characters in a second. Um, but yeah, he feels more right as Paragon, and then um, the anti-hero or the evil Delson feels like a what if to me. Whereas in the first two games, both options were valid. The game also feels rushed. This was a more or less launch game, so I get the feeling that they kind of did that because they wanted to get this out, which I'm fine with. But, Sucker Punch is definitely my favorite first party studio working for with Sony. So I still like their games a lot, but it kind of feels like they just wanted to get this out, and so the story more or less took a little bit of a backseat. Like replaying it, I can definitely feel like a lot of things were rushed. But you know what? It's fine. Um, where am I? Oh yeah. Getting back to characters though, I actually really do like a lot of the characters. I liked oh, his name is slipping. Delson's brother. Why am I forgetting his name? I just played this game. Anyway, I'm sure it'll come back. But I liked him a lot. I liked Delson as a character more than I liked Cole. Cole was just kind of a blanket, like a wet blanket. Whereas I like Troy Baker's take on Delson. I like it a lot, actually. Um, Augustine's a really good villain, too. I actually really like Augustine's motivations and stuff. And, the DUP is actually kind of fun to fight. Um, this game came out in 2014, and I will say that it still looks pretty good. Um, I remember at the beginning of this generation, they were talking about how the PS4 hardware, or both consoles in general, could really push the particle effects. Like that's the one thing that stood out to me. And this game really pushes particle effects with all the powers and stuff, and it still looks really good. Like I love me some good particle effects. So this game is just a treat to look at. Also, this game has some amazing lighting. Like, this many years on, and it's still, like, the lighting itself just looks so good. And I also do want to talk about the setting. Seattle itself, I actually really like it. So I've never been to Seattle, so I can't tell you firsthand if it's accurate, but I do have a friend who lived in Seattle. At least I think she did. Hopefully, I'm not misquoting her. But she told me, like, it's definitely truncated, which is fair. They had to. Um, but, like, the Space Needle and, like, a lot of the places they had to get right, they nailed. And then they kind of took liberties with a lot of other stuff. And it's definitely a unique feeling place. I will say that it's one of the unique settings in gaming still to this day. And I really love a truncated Seattle, and I wish more games would take place in Seattle too. So the next thing I want to talk about is the actual gameplay itself, and I still find this game really fun. It is a blast to play. I usually play these games to completion because I just feel compelled to do so, and it just feels right. Um, but that being said, it's open world, and it took me, if I remember right, maybe 25 ish hours to do everything, which I'm fine with. I actually like shorter games like that. They don't take too long to complete everything and to see everything. I Now don't get me wrong, I do still like my 100-hour RPGs and stuff. That this generation's definitely filled with those. But I actually like my smaller, more focused games, and this is definitely one of those. And I said it's really fun. All the powers that you get are really cool. My favorite is still Neon. It still looks the best. It still caters to my playstyle really well. It also lets you rack up Paragon points like crazy with its orbital. Well, I guess it's not called orbital strike. I don't know what it's called, but the big super move, basically. You know what I'm talking about. Um, Now, I will say that the side missions do get repetitive, but I'm kind of okay with it. They're pretty short, and some of them are fun. I really like the stencil art ones. The Once you get the neon, the secret agent missions aren't too bad, but I still like the hidden camera ones. Those are fun. And there are a lot of blast shards, but there's not too much where you're overwhelmed. And that's really it for side missions. And of course, you got 13 districts, if I remember right, to clear out. So it's really not that bad. Um, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun to clear out the DUP. If you noticed in the gameplay, like when you're taking out the strongholds, basically, um, I generally go around and try and get rid of all the DUP stuff first. So like that ugly yellow orange government stuff that they have, controlling the city. Like to me, it's fun to clear all that out and just basically beautify Seattle so I can look at it more. Um, that being said, a complaint of mine, which I guess it's a personal thing, I don't know how much of a complaint it is, but I like the destructible stuff is fun, but I do wish that once you cleared out a stronghold, all that stuff would go away. Um, because if you don't know, like you can just leave all the stuff that I'm destroying right now. You can just leave all that and come back. But when you come back, all the debris will be gone, but everything that's still standing will stand, and it just kind of looks ugly. So then you're like, I just want to get rid of it. So I do take my time. This is one of the larger ones. Like it's early in the game too, but this is like one of the larger structures to get rid of, or one of the larger outposts. But like it's not too terrible. But again, I just wish it would all go away. Um, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the powers are still really fun. I said neon is my favorite. Mainly because of traversal. Like the traversal in this game is still a blast to go through. Like it's fun to actually move around in this game. Except for the climbing, it still has that wonky climbing that the first two Infamous games had. And this game came out in 2014, and I felt it a little bit then, but I really felt it now. But once you get neon, you can just straight up run up walls. It's fun to just shoot through the air vents in uh, while you have smoke, and then with digital, you can just basically fly at that point. So just getting around the city is really fun. Um, yeah, and then besides that, all the combat stuff's really good too. Simple combat, but again, I'm okay with that. And along with that, I also really like exploring the town itself and just finding all the cool stuff. Like, it's Sucker Punch, and they have like a lot of Sly Cooper stuff, which I appreciate. They also have like some Cole McGrath stuff, so that's really neat. If you are curious, there was DLC. It was free that came out, I think, for 5 weeks straight, I believe, when the game launched. Like every week you get a new mission. That is still in here, but it is only the first part. They did shut down the website. Um, but I'm okay with that. Like the DLC was fine, but it wasn't great anyway. I just believe it was, if I remember right, it was an excuse for them to put in paper, because I believe they were working on you having like paper powers at some point, but they just couldn't fit it in. So they found a way to like put it into the game with through another character. Like it was a cool idea, and like going to a different website to find some stuff that was cool, but you basically only get the first mission now. It doesn't go beyond that. Then again, though, I didn't look too hard on the map, so it might still all be there. I don't know. And I don't think I have anything else I need to say, so I guess I'll just end this video. Um, yeah, I'll just end it. So, if you liked what you've seen, you can go ahead and like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more game reviews, videos, some streams, all that good gaming stuff. I don't know when I'll be back with the next one or what game I'm going to play. I'll probably put a poll out on Twitter. Uh, but anyway, uh, yeah, with that all being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. This was a weird ass ending.